Hello guys, welcome to Sakaga Studies. This is where I deconstruct the techniques of some of the top world-class animators, particularly ones which stand out in the industry for having a unique style or ability. I don't know why I said ability. Today we're looking at Gosei Oda. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Really impressed with this guy's work. He's I don't know much about him, but I did a bit of research. So he's worked as a key animator on some well-known shows. Most recently, he's worked on One Punch Man and Space Dandy. And before that, he worked on Full Metal Alchemist, Afro Samurai, Ergo Proxy, and he also worked on Kid Story. And before that, he also worked on some Studio Ghibli features, most notably Spirited Away and The Cat Returns. And I love pretty much all of those things that he's worked on. So yeah, he's worked on some really big names, but he's not as much of a superstar like that people know the name of. They don't know his name. So yeah, hopefully this gives him some more exposure and shows that my appreciation for this animator. Yeah, I've been really impressed with his work, and the reason I chose him is because I love the elasticity of his style and how he can push his animation to the extremes. And yeah, I think the animation principles in his work are really evident, and you can kind of tell, or you kind of have an idea when it might have been animated by him. I think he's starting to get that, or either he's starting to get that style where it's like you know that it's him, or he's always had that sort of style that makes him stand out. And you'll start to see what I mean when I start to deconstruct some of these. I'm going to go straight into looking at some of these scenes that he's done, starting with Space Dandy. So this scene, I love this. He really starts to showcase the crazy levels to which you can take animation. It makes me wonder if he was like influenced by maybe Warner Bros. Cartoons such as Tom and Jerry. Like parts in this, the way that this kind of liquid creature is moving is really cool, and feel like the way that he's drawing the characters and the way he's animating them with this very sort of out there style that's, you know, it's kind of liquid, it's transforming. That's really good for a show like Space Dandy because of the way the characters are, the way the show is written. I think that this style of animation really complements that, the way it's so wacky. So yeah, I just love how this the intensity of this thing and how elastic it is when it shoots out. You see it kind of bulges out of this space. You've got this space that's like that, and then one of the things it's doing already is just it's kind of bulging like that, which I like, and then that turns to a sort of stretch. So the width of this I don't know what to call it, like this thing, it's like that, and then when it whips its way out towards the characters, it's the width like dramatically decreases. And this is I guess you could call this squash and stretch. So I guess this is squash and stretch like applied in a circumstance. And you know, because these principles of animation, they can be quite hard to understand when they're applied to an actual circumstance like this, because they're always in a sort of isolated environment with one character, and the character's walking, and as it goes down, he squashes out, and then it goes up, or the ball, you know. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be stuff like this. So when he's striking, the width dramatically decreases. So yeah, really like that. It really showcases the principles. And it's cool to have like this imaginary substance where you don't really know what it's made out of. There's no real life reference point for this, and he's sort of invented it himself in a way, like how it behaves. So it kind of rushes out like this with a lot of intensity, and also the way that the shine, this kind of sheen it has on it, it kind of you're not sure if it's like translucent or something because it's shining right where the characters are. Anyway, it's just really it's really interesting to look at this and see what it's like on a frame by frame standpoint as well. Also, I think to convey the intensity, one thing he's done really well is he's kind of made if you look at it from here, like the base of it, the base point, you see that these, from frame to frame, the beams of this thing sort of oscillate a lot. They go back and forth at a very quick rate, which is how you can tell that it's actually going this way at a very fast rate as well. So that's just something to observe, something that maybe you can apply in something or other. Maybe if you're doing like a laser blast or some kind of blast of energy, that kind of principle could help you. The way it's able to go, the center point of this thing is suddenly able to go like over to this side of the screen and you're still able to track it, is because of the squash and stretch. Again, I think squash and stretch is probably his strongest method here that he's using. It's certainly the one that's most obvious. It's really cool to see how he distorts these two characters, and the facial expressions and everything. It's just really nice to see how you can change things, how you can warp them and distort them and all of that. The other thing is that now this is kind of acting a bit like a whip. So you see that there will be a change here at the base, and then that change will then move on to here for the next frame, and so the movement will be here at the next frame. But it also moves very erratically. Alright, so this is just after they'd been pulled into that space, and this is just this is mind-blowing. So he's kind of gone for these really abstract shapes when it comes to the character. I've rarely seen a character stretched to this extreme. He sort of has gone to like the extreme and then gone past what people would consider extreme, and that is, to me, is very interesting to see how you can push it that far. Like, these hands are like so elongated, but they still work. You can still tell where everything is. Yeah, also I really like how he's done the background. Like, so it was one thing to see how this thing behaves like this, but now we're sort of, I don't know if we're inside it or what, but like, to see what this is like, it kind of looks like a vortex, and I really like how these particles, just for the few frames that they're present, where you can actually see them, I really like how they're behaving together, how they're interacting. Again, my guess is that he's built them up in layers, so one color, the base layer will be done in one layer with the color, and then the next layer will be that pinkish one, and then the highlights. That's really nice. Okay, this is another bit that I just pulled out because I wanted to examine this in more detail. It's so liquid and it's so elastic, so stretchy and everything. Just wanted to show you how, let's play this part. You see that little ripple there? That really adds a lot to it. So if we look at the torso here, it's like that, and then this little part kind of comes out like that, and then it kind of slows and goes back, and the rest of it kind of catches up, and then it goes again, and then the rest, then it gets stretched and everything, and it's so liquid. And look at his face. His face is like completely distorted from this. It's like it's not saving any part of the body. It's all like this. It's really interesting to see. Very trippy. Yeah, also this bit I pulled out because it's just a flash by like that where you see his face, But I like how, his eye is in place here, but then his face sort of leaves and his eye is just left sort of outside his body. And that part that comes along really fast, and it's something that you might not see on the first time. But I really like how he's done that. It's like, it's so, morphing, and this is really showcasing what you can do with animation, with 2D animation. I like this bit as well, from Space Dandy. So these kind of objects, they're kind of like a sling, I guess you could call them, when they're tied together by 2 cords. But I really like how he showed how these 2 balls behaved. So let's just have a look at that again. So this is really cool. So they start off like this. There's 3 of them, and then this one sort of behaves on its own. It kind of goes like as if it's going like starting to come up like that. They kind of got a life of their own, and this is where it gets really fast. So it's gone like that round, and then the next frame it's already there. So it's pushing it to its extreme again with the frame. Like, that's just about readable with how fast it's going for the frames. Yeah, and then at their extreme, these balls are really stretched out like this. So it's kind of ramped its way up to being extremely stretched out. And yeah, I just really like that piece of animation. Brilliant. Okay, now we're on to One Punch Man. So let's see. Wait, do I have another one on this? No. Alright, on to One Punch Man. So you might have seen this clip. This is probably his most famous clip, and also because it's in a famous show, this is the kind of scene that will stick in your memory. You'll probably remember this. So it's like a flurry of fists that so Saitama is like down here, just off screen, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'll play this first and then you can see. Boom. Brilliant. So yeah. Oh, by the way, I am using Flash for this just because I haven't yet worked out how to use TV Paint to deconstruct these. I don't know how to bring in a video file into TV Paint. So for now, I'm just using Flash for this. So I've been wondering for this clip whether he has reused frames at all and then just added camera shake on top. So let's have a look through and see what he's been doing for some of his techniques. So this is interesting. Okay, so frame 1, right, if I just put some keyframes down. So frame 1 is here, just in line with this. And then 2, he's raised it to head level. Well, he is angled down, but he's raised it to head level here. So that's interesting. So far the path has gone like this. Okay, and here what he's doing is he's leading with the body. He's leading with the torso. The arm hangs back. In fact, it's just gone back a little bit. So that's interesting. Leading with the body adds a lot more power into the move. And then look at the distance comparison. So it's moved a short distance back there, and then in the frame after that, it's moved the entire distance forward to the ground, indicating a lot of speed and power. Now, by the way, this doesn't have to be, this doesn't only have applications for a punch. This can be for a lot of different things that you can use these principles. You can use this for, let's say, any kind of sports, athletics. You could do it for like a tree toppling down. You can apply this in a lot of different ways. So don't think that, if you're not a fight scene animator, don't think that like this doesn't have any use for you. You can actually apply these methods into other things. And in fact, I made a video a while ago where I applied the principles of a punch or a kick, some kind of fight move, but into doing it for like a handshake embrace. So it had a different meaning, but it was using those animation principles. Anyway, that's sort of getting off topic a bit. Look at what he's done here. So he's done the outline like this, and then he's duplicated the outline and just moved it a little bit behind, like a bit like an alternative for a motion blur. You see that? That's really interesting. I hadn't considered doing that before. That hadn't been on the table for me, but now that I've seen that, maybe I'll try that in my next animation. So yeah, down, and then another one which is kind of settling. So where are we now? 3, 4, 5 is settled. No movement really. It's more just sort of you see like bits of his arm, like his tricep here was being held back a little bit, and now it's sort of moved forward just to catch up with the rest. Like, it's a settling frame. I call this the settle frame. So you've got the impact, but then the rest of the body kind of takes a little while to settle in. You can see some camera shake here. That's so often they animate on 2s or 3s, and so you can tell when they've been using camera shake a lot, or when they're animating on 2s and 3s. You can tell because you will get this happen. But this looks really awkward when you break it down like this, but when it's sped up, you actually can't tell the difference. So don't think that because you're using camera shake on 1s that you have to animate on 1s for your character animation. You don't. The eye can't really pick it up when you play it at full speed. Okay, now it's coming back a little bit after the what did I call it again? I can't remember what I called it. The settling frame. So that's come back. So yeah, I really recommend that you look over this clip and the other clips he's done. If you're looking to animate like a punch or a kick, something with a lot of impact, study this guy's work, because he knows how to do this stuff. And now he's brought it all the way back again. And we're kind of recycling that now. So I think these frames are reused here. But yeah, so same again, it's kind of going, so it's gone, so from here, from the bottom here, it kind of goes round and then hangs here for quite a while. Let's say each of these cross lines is a frame. Actually, it was probably only 2 there. Yeah. So that's kind of the motion path of that fist. It's kind of like an oval shape, a very stretched out oval shape. So this is interesting. So now he's kind of taken a raw like that and punched again, and then look at that. He just quickly gets in that other fist, the right hand. Just you see that? Just one frame, he added in a quick right hand there. And now this fist, because the right hand is joining in, this fist is now taking a different path. It's coming closer to us. So it's more of a like this kind of movement instead of it being like through. It's kind of around. So it's coming closer to us here. Same kind of impact there. But now at the same time that's back, he's got his other fist drawn. But you still got that, coming round there. still leading with the body. You see, the body's still sort of, you can see the body's still twisting first before the fist actually starts. And then that's flung forward for a frame. And look at that, it just, bang, just comes back for that one. So this, I guess the fist closer to us is like giving more impact, and the right fist is just a quick, like, it's like a whip. It's just whoosh, like that. And then this is sort of evolving, so it's becoming more intense as we go, you see. So as you can tell, more fists are coming in. Let's see. Other thing I've just noticed as I've been doing it is that there's this big piece of rock here that's just slowly kind of arcing across the screen like that. And look, it's just slowly arcing around like that. And I always like those contrasts of fast with slow. So when they animate something fast, which is this guy is doing something very, very fast action, having the slow moving rock, big, slow, heavy rock, the difference in scale, like this guy is bigger than the rock, and then he's moving faster as well, which indicates that this guy has a lot of power. So yeah, it's ways that they demonstrate power, you know. So I like how these fists, right, I'll get rid of this stuff. I like how these fists, they just appear very quickly. I mean, that's interesting that it's simultaneous to this fist here. And then it's got like one secondary frame where it sort of, it just kind of evaporates into these speed lines. I suppose the idea is that the fist has, you know, come down like this, and then it's gone on to hit the ground, you know. But it's kind of abstract. I mean, it just sort of works without it needing to be completely like, oh yeah, that's how it's meant to look. Well, if it looks right to our eyes, then you don't need to question whether it's, you know, scientifically correct. So yeah, I've been observing this, and this is pretty much the same for this. What he's done is he added more camera shake. You know, progressively the camera shake has gotten more, and the amount of fists themselves have started to multiply. So there are more of these fists. Look at that one. That one's coming round there. So if we look at the paths of them, they're all kind of, in fact, they're not quite. He's kind of being a bit clumsy with how he's throwing them, because they're not completely concentrated on one key area like here. They're not completely accurately going down. So I guess that's because he's very angry. He's a very angry character. But yeah, it's interesting to see the different paths. That one's going way off there. That one's a different frame to what we've seen, the fist being closer to us. Yeah, that's interesting. That's kind of going like that. What are some other things you could do with this? I thought that maybe an extra thing that you could add, which he hasn't. I mean, it's not necessary for this scene, but one of the extra methods you could do is have some more sort of impact rise up from that. So you could have, like, you know, things kind of coming back at him a little bit. You know, different debris, smoke, dust, things like that. Brilliant clip though, really good. So this brings me to the next bit. So we've got this, and the camera shake is just going crazy, and we have a quick cut in. So cut into where we're kind of looking, we're closer, and it cuts on action, so we barely notice this. So that's like the transition here. I love these expressions. Look at his mouth. It's like so wide. It's so extreme. Okay. He pulls himself back. He reels back. Look at this. Wow. That's just what I mean by like how elastic it is. It's like so much energy coiled up in those frames. Yeah, I love the use of perspective as well. Look at how tiny his head is compared to his torso here. It's like, you know, there's a big difference there, and that's just from the perspective. That's just from where we put the camera angle, you know. So if you're doing a high impact thing like this, it works really well if you put things, you know, coming away and towards the camera instead of it being like, you know, just flat. So if he was still, you know, like this, and you see the thing travel there, that's fine. But if you see it go from like a tiny little speck, his fist, to like this massive thing in your face, like what's happening here, well, what he demonstrates is that is you know, has a big impression on us. It looks really grand. So, I mean, some of this could look really daunting for how he creates it, but you got to remember that, you know, the details are added on later, and how he probably does this with the elastic sort of nature of his animation is that he first animates them as if they are, you know, large objects, very blank objects. So, for example, you can see here with his torso, you could make this torso, could reduce all the detail like the pecs, the abs, reduce all of that and just make it into a sort of simplified shape. So maybe we could make it into a cube-like shape here. And with the cube, it's much easier to bend it. So that's me just sort of simplifying it there. Let's see, take that away. What have we got? Right, so now let's take this. You know, if that's like the way the torso is shaped, and you can still kind of see this in the end design, but you know, having that to work with instead of having like all of the abs, all of the pecs and everything, if you're concerned with drawing all of them in all the time, it's going to be very difficult to make this object elastic, you know, because you're going to have to be thinking about where everything is all the time. And so what I would recommend is to just, if you're trying to do this kind of stuff, just go ahead with you know, drawing this first, maybe animating even the character out of these kind of things. Let's say you do the arm like, you know, very simple shape like that. Well then, how can I make that elastic? Well, you can sort of do all this with it. And then you can worry about, you know, okay, where's the definition for the deltoid? Well, okay, if we're stretching it, then it will probably be more like that. The bicep to tricep definition will probably run along here. The tricep will be extruded here slightly. You know, you can work that out later, but you've got the core of the, you know, the gesture down. So yeah, same with this, you know, you can bend it and twist it quite a lot, and then you can you know, worry about adding all the rest onto it afterwards. That's kind of what I would recommend you do. Just from seeing how he does it, you know, I'm trying to imagine how he gets to that part. So yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? Look at that. So I've said this principle before. If you look at my video on how to animate 3D environments, there's a really simple principle, which is that things that are further away from you move slower, and the things that are closer to you move faster. I mean, closer to the camera view. So if you push that to the extreme, you have things that are far away from the camera as being very slow, things that are close to the camera as being very fast. You've got a nice contrast there. It has a lot of appeal and has a lot of a very big kick to it. So let's see that again with the fist. If we're just focusing on the fist here, slow, gets fast, much faster as it comes close. I like seeing all these details as well. He's very good at drawing in this sort of 3D way where the lines are wrapping their way around the form. If you imagine this as a 3D thing, they're wrapping themselves around the form. They still have a lot of energy because he's drawn them very fast. He's also got an extra layer there, which is like shadow, and you can see that he's sort of painted it across the knuckles, and I just really like that, and I like his style here for how he's drawn that. Here as well, you see that the serrations, I guess you could call them, they're sort of wrapping their way around, and they've just filled with energy. I love it. All right, and finally, let's have a look at this shot. So I won't point out everything in this one because I think we're running out of time, but I just got a few observations I need to show you guys. So let me play it through first so that you can see. Hold on. All right. Wow. That is just amazing, isn't it? So what is it that's so amazing about this that we can actually observe and quantify? Well, for one thing that I really like is the fact that the head stretches so far back when it's hit like that. Like, look at the way the neck has just been forced to extend this entire length. And that's in perspective as well. So, you know, the head before was like, you know, we could only see the mouth really and part of the neck. So the head's not even in full view. And now it's all the way back there. So cool. The other thing is, since the impact, look how much time, if you look on the timeline at the top. So this here is the section which is dedicated to like the actual punch itself. Okay, just that amount. All of the rest of it from there onwards is all like follow through impact. Look at that. That's amazing. So it's really slow. I also really like, look at this. Like when you get halfway through the impact, it's almost like there's another second wave of force which then sort of kicks in. It's sort of like a ripple effect. You can see it here around the ear. So watch around the ear, these ripples that come up, and then they sort of, yeah, the skull is sort of shattered. Really nice. You have the same thing with the blood effect as well. Wow. Just wow. I also really like the way that there's this circular impact on his cheek like this, and that just stays there, you know, from the punch. It just stays there. And it kind of, it's as if the air is sort of still pushing at his face and just continuously just not letting up. Really astounding. A lot of you have been asking me for a Sakuga studies video on the legendary Yutaka Nakamura. I have set this as a goal on Patreon. If we get to our next funding goal of $100 per video, I will get to work making a series for Yutaka Nakamura. Now we are quite close to that goal. We don't need much more to get there. You know, all of the funding goes to help sustain the channel and make more videos like this. When we reach $100 per video, I will get to work making a series for Nakamura, and hopefully that is enough of an incentive for you guys to head over to the Patreon page, check it out, and consider supporting. Patreons get access to extra videos as well as early video releases and many more perks. I just made another exclusive video for them, which is out, that they can watch. Be spoiled for as low as $1 every 2 weeks, which really, if you think about it, is not a lot at all, and you can be helping, you can be contributing to this channel. It's a way that you can give back, and you can also cancel and change your amount that you pledge at any time. Please consider doing it. It doesn't take long. One more thing, I'm going to be releasing the Animator Guild archive soon, and this will be available to buy in the Animator Guild store and will feature an archive of all 100 previous Animator Guild videos. This is ideal for if you want to travel whilst learning, and if you have unreliable internet, or if you don't want to be interrupted by adverts, this is perfect for you. It's very affordable as well, so keep an eye out for that, and follow me on Twitter for updates on when that is released. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.